Jamie White, tell me, knowing that the prosecution is going to get to use her admissions, how worried should the defense be about those statements we just heard?
Well, in light of the points you just made, Julie, and I think what's happened here is the defense has gone too far with the conspiracy theories. You know, this was extremely bad weather. This certainly was, you know, a vehicle interaction with a human being, and the idea that they went to some extreme measures to cover things up, I think, does not help her at this point in time, because it appears that she, in fact, knew or should have known that these other two officers were involved, when in fact, I believe they were all partying and drinking, and I suspect that her statement could be interpreted in a different way. So I don't agree. I don't disagree with you guys. This is not helpful, but I do not think it is something that defeats her defense in any way, shape, or form. You know, this is a woman that was distraught, and there's different ways to kill your husband. I don't want to get into trying to.
You've seen it all, Jamie. I know all the years you've been in practice. It's horrible. It's horrible. Yeah. Oh boy, and then they found Tylee, or should I say what was left of Tylee. There was barely anything left of her body. What was left, her remains in the fire pit on his property. Chad Daybell, by the way, used to be a grave digger. Let's talk about that. Let's bring back in our guest, retired DEA Supervisory Special Agent Michael T. Wilhite Sr. and trial attorney Jamie White. Jamie, let me go to you on this, please. What is really favorable for Mr. Doomsday is that none of his DNA was found on either of the victims. What's unfavorable, as you know, is their dead bodies were found on his property. And way back when, before he became the prophet and an author and a preacher and whatever else he was, Lori's fifth husband, he was a grave digger. Jamie, how concerned might the defense be about this?
Well, I think the defense has probably already conceded a conviction. I don't want to speak for them, obviously, but they should be very, very concerned. You know, the fact that there isn't DNA, Julie, and you know this as a prosecutor, you know, families gather around the television a couple times a week and they watch programs like CSI and NCSI, these different programs that I'm unfortunately don't have the time to watch, but I know that they solve these crimes within an hour and they do it with science. But that is not really how the majority of our crimes are solved. They're solved through personal interactions, in other words, people giving their personal accounts, and circumstantial evidence. So the fact that there wasn't any DNA found in this particular location, it doesn't really, it's an important fact that needs to be brought up, but the other circumstantial evidence is far more overwhelming. And I'll just finalize with this thought. A prosecutor, a very good prosecutor that I worked with for a very long time, used to say, I'm not going to show you a painting, I'm going to show you a puzzle, and I'm going to put the pieces together. And I think that's what we have here. You know, we don't have a painting that we can frame and hand to a jury, but we certainly have enough puzzle pieces to support that he was an active conspirator, aider and abetter, or the actual murderer of these children.
Oh, Jamie, I love how you put that. You're absolutely right. And this was such a puzzle. I remember, you know, you're on Court TV giving analysis on this. This is when the kids were missing. I mean, we're going way back to when, piece by piece, you're right, we got the bits of information. These kids, our hearts break for them without a doubt. You know, our love and light goes to those kids. They are innocent in all of this and clearly had no idea. I mean, you hear Emma in that video, no clue what was going on right underneath their noses. Jamie White, tell me, when we think about what's occurred with the children, what John Pryor is going to be doing with them, would you give us kind of an inside look at the lawyer's perspective when you are calling family members trying to save your client's life?
You know, like following up on Michael's last point, I agree, and I've had experience with these sorts of cases, and I've had more than one psychologist tell me that parents have a tendency to protect the weakest child. We see this most common in divorce cases, but it certainly translates into this case as well. So, I think they'll be very friendly to them, but there needs to be some introspect.
Definitely. I wish we had more time. Jamie White, Michael Wilhite, thank you both so much for all of your great insight this morning. We'll be right back with more from Idaho.